Welcome to Yerp Radio's The Hip Hop Shop.
This show will be the spot for like-minded folks that enjoy the elements of hip-hop in one show.
Each week we will be digging in the crates to listen to great music and politic on different takes on our culture. Your host, Milk D King Samson,
We'll be guiding you through the different departments in the spot we call the Hip Hop Shop, here on Yerp Radio.
Welcome to the Hip Hop Shop. I go by King Samson.
Yeah, DJ Milk D in the building.
Today we have a special guest. He's known around in Toronto in the party scene. He's a wicked DJ. Also, he's a party promoter. He actually is a person who you like to go to if you're having a party and you want things to go perfectly. He's the man you want as a right-hand man. He goes by DJ Majesty, but we all know him as a bad man on the turntables, and where he's here on the Hip Hop Shop.
That's
wow.
what's up. Welcome,
I need to record that intro, man. I need to record that intro and just play it in parties before I set it. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We always hit off with the Hip Hop Shop with this one first question. When did you fall in love with hip hop? Do you remember the time, the place? Do you know the people you're with, or what was going on? Do you remember that time?
I think I fell in love. I've always liked hip hop, but fell in love with it. I guess a little bit of background about me. I started off just playing around with records and stuff like that. You know, my friends had some turntables. They weren't 12s. They were like, I can't even remember what model number they were, but they had some turntables and stuff like that. And it wasn't until I went to my friend's house and started playing on turntables. I'm like, yo, like, you know what I mean? Just the whole process of selecting a record, putting the record on, the staticky sound of a record and the hip hop, on a hip hop beat and stuff like that. That's pretty much where I fell in love with hip hop, and kind of that love kind of brought me into the whole DJing world, so, and that was like in grade 9. So okay. Ever since then, I've pretty much been DJing and just love hip hop, and especially like growing up in the 90s and stuff like that, when the music was just so much better than it is now when it comes to hip hop and stuff like that, right? So from everything from the music itself, watching the videos, you know what I mean? It just kind of felt, really felt passionate about my love for it. You know what I mean? That's kind of where it started.
Do you remember what when you started doing the records and playing them and everything, like what kind of groups were you listening to at that time?
Oh, it's at that time, wow. So we had like the Cool G Raps,
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, the Cool G Raps, the LL Cool J's, and I'm talking about like early LL, you know what I mean? Not necessarily like the late 90s, 2000s, like the 80s stuff.
Yeah.
Just going back, like, and even like obscure groups as well, really fell in love with that. Just the whole hip hop scene back then was so much more different than it is today. Like, there was a lot more originality in the lyricism, the production, everybody wanting to be different, and stuff like that. So you're always hearing a different sound. And, when you're listening to the radio or watching a video and stuff like that, it's like, yo, you know what I mean? It's always like falling in love with it over and over and over again, because it's just so different from the next person.
Man, you nailed it, Majesty. The creativity back then was amazing. Nothing like it is today. I'm thinking about like the De La Souls, and I'm thinking stuff like Course Tribe. We talked about that the other day. But Jungle Brothers,
the whole native.
The whole native, yes, Moni and the, oh yeah, just the creativity was bananas.
Sure.
So Samson and I, and of course you in this room, we love old school hip hop. And if you could just throw one name out for me that you feel like they paved the way through that old school hip hop? What name would come to your head who paved the way for hip hop?
I think I would even say Kane, only because he was a lyricist, he danced a bit, and he also was just smooth. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
when he dressed and all that, just the whole package, I think, overall. So I think he kind of was a trailblazer at the time. You know what I mean?
Love it.
Yeah, to other groups and stuff and artists.
Who was your favorite producer at that time when you put the vinyls on? Who was the producer that you always went to listen to?
I would say, I guess a little bit later, when I became more familiar with like producers and stuff like that, would be like Premier had this sound that was just like no other. You know what I mean? And even to this day, it's pretty much the same thing as well. Like, you can't reproduce a Premier. You know, he just has this sound that's just crazy, and that's one thing. Like, you know, you have the Just Blazes and all that kind of stuff, and whatever, which, you know, are great producers. You know, Rodney Jerkins, all that kind of stuff, with the R&B hip hop ish side.
Yeah,
but, definitely Premier, and just the music that came out of, you know, him with Guru as Gang Starr and stuff like that. Just like one of my favorite groups, so that's why I'm mentioning him as well. But yeah, one for a producer, definitely, like, it's crazy.
Love it. Yep.
So when you're coming up, right, everyone has nicknames. You're DJ Majesty. Do you always have DJ Majesty, or did you have a name before that?
So my nickname when I was in like grade school, grade 6, 7, 8, whatever the case may be, was Bubs, B-U-B-S, Bubs. So it's just funny in life how people kind of know me, depending on how far back.
Yes.
Like, you know, whatever. So that was my nickname. Pretty much just growing up and stuff like that, Bubs, whatever. I think the first name I gave myself as a DJ was DJ Vibes. You know? I never really liked the name, but like, you know what, I got to give myself a name, and kind of, you know, I went through that, and then later changed it to DJ Majesty, which stuck for me. You know what I mean? I always kind of say that I gave myself that name because I'm the king of this shit. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's kind of the reason why, and I just have Majesty and stuff like that. So that's kind of the names I had. But so it kind of went from Bubs to DJ Vibes to DJ Majesty, and especially when I was with. So I started off. There were 3 of us. Essential Entertainment, or Essential Sound Crew, basically was initially how I kind of started out in the whole DJing business. So it was myself and my friend Quintessence, and DJ Snoop as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say names is kind of difficult at times to come up with. Back when I was younger, I breakdance, and my nickname was Kid Fresh, and that was like my breakdance name. I said I need a DJ name. Now here, you know, I'm talking early 80s, and I was like, I'm gonna call because I was a big Run DMC fan, R.I.P. to Jam Master Jay. So I said, I'm gonna call myself the King of Rock, and I'm like, okay, this isn't sticking. And then my freshman year in high school, I played football. I went to Catholic school, played quarterback, played punter, and my last name is Bourgeois. And they were like, we gotta come up with a nickname for this guy, because the tape going across my helmet was long. So to speed this up, they started calling me Milk because I'm so pale. And when I would fake people out, they said he's like liquid. So Milk stuck with me since 1985. So I started calling myself DJ Milk D. But the listeners out there, they know how King Samson got his name, which, I guess he's like 7'6". I don't know. I've never actually seen him in person. But names have to fit the artists. DJs are artists. So what I wanted to say too, after we went through the whole nickname thing, is with your record, with your experience with DJing with records, do you still do that today, Majesty, or have you transitioned over to the controller?
So turntables at home, and then the controller when I'm mobile. It's just a lot easier to carry around. Like, you know what I mean? I remember back in the days where you're carrying crates, having a bunch of friends, help you carry in crates. And then there were nights where, you couldn't get anybody, and you're carrying X amount of crates in a party and stuff like that. So
100.
It took me a long time though to transition from even CDs. Like, there was that period where it went from turntables and vinyl to like CD players and stuff like that, and I was the most resistant person ever because I didn't want to switch over to it. So I got like the very tail end before like Serato and those other programs and stuff like that, making DJing life a lot easier. So there was a bit of a transition from vinyl to CDs that didn't last long. But then when we got into Serato and stuff like that, and then the technologies kept on changing, and then we now have controllers and stuff like that, it's a blessing and a curse.
Indeed. Before you say something, Samson, I just thought about, those days when you mentioned about the crates. My big brother, Double D, would say, man, you need a roadie. You need somebody to roll with you to help you with those crates of records. Well, go ahead, Samson. What you got?
You were talking about some obsolete, not obsolete, but vintage groups and artists that you used to listen. Do you remember one of your favorite vintage MCs that didn't really get their shine, but they were really good?
I wouldn't necessarily any specific ones right off the top of my head, but I mean there were so many that were very underrated in terms of lyricism and stuff like that in the hip hop world. But at the same point in time, everybody was a beast back in the day. Like I said before, everybody wanted to be really original and have their own sound and stuff like that. They did have their kind of copycats and stuff like that, and those people didn't last for long at all, right?
Nope.
Whereas again today, it's just like a template. You just kind of fit the template and you just run with it. I call today's music like fad music, right? So the song that's hot today, by the time next year rolls around, you forgot about that song. And over the last couple of years, you know what I mean? Like, can you think of what was the hottest hip hop song? Let's just remove Drake out of the equation. But other than that, can you say, okay, well, what was the hottest hip hop song for the summer? You really can't, right?
No, I can't.
I'm trying to think. No.
Yeah. Whereas back in the day, like you had like the Wu-Tang, like it would be like Protect Your Neck, Cream, you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. You're like, yo, like these are bangers. And the funny thing is, those are still bangers that you can play.
Hey, I'm a chick with beats, multi-genre music producer and strategist to indie artists and labels. Visit achickwithbeats.com for resources for artists and instrumentals in various genres available for songs, vlogs, blogs, podcasts, themes, TV, film, commercials, and more. Once again, that's achickwithbeats.com. That's ACHICKWITBEATZ.com. Let's make something happen.
Hop Shop is live on Yerp Radio at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Tuesday. No scripts. No gimmicks. Just real stories from people who love hip-hop. Full episodes are now live on YouTube. Subscribe today at the Hip Hop Shop Show so you never miss another story.
Let's get back to our convo in the Hip Hop Shop.
do you have an album that you could play from start to finish? Biggie, which one?
Which one? Ready to Die? Oh, both of them.
Yeah.
Life After Death.
Yep, Life After Death, exactly. So those two,
100.
There's no skips on any of them for me. I think Biggie is, or well, you know, rest in peace. His music, one, is timeless. And two, just like his storytelling is almost unmatched. You know, you're like listening, you're like kind of reading a book and going chapter to chapter to chapter, and every chapter is so dope.
Nice.
100%. Yep. R.I.P. to Biggie. Yep.
I remember like when Biggie died, I shed a tear that day, guy. I was like,
for sure,
because we were getting some premium good party music, man.
We were like,
and he was just getting started too.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I think that he definitely would have put pressure on a lot of the rappers and influenced them in a way to be able to push their music and do better music as well. You know, had he still been alive and what happened. Again, you know, rest in peace to him. He contributed a lot to, you know, New York hip hop and scene and stuff like that. But overall, like hip hop was such a, you know, a big influence. And, you know, the real ones know when they do talk about it in terms of artists and stuff like that, you know, always, you know, big up Biggie. So
do you have a time when you met someone in the hip hop royalty and it was a positive experience? Do you remember a time of that you had?
Yeah, so we went to Cancun back in the late 90s, and it was one of those, it was spring break, so everybody was out there from, you know, Americans, Canadians, you know, Europeans, and all that kind of stuff. But I met Guru actually at the hotel, and he was the most humblest dude ever.
Nice.
Like, you know, he was just there chilling. We got pictures and stuff with him, and he was just so cool.
That's dope.
Yeah, he was just a real cool guy.
I'm kind of scared to meet anyone that I really truly like, because if they put that stain on him, I'll start hating them. I have a thing in my head of how they should be, and I want to keep it that way. So I don't approach them. I remember I was a big fan of Martin, and I remember he walked right beside me, and I was like looking at him, and I said, "Jason, don't say nothing. Don't even say hi. Just let him go, because I don't want to break what I have for him." You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, well, it was a good experience for me. Like, you know what I mean? You know, seeing him on like TV, all the shows, like in Living Color, seeing him, MTV Raps, all that kind of stuff, and then seeing him in person and just how cool he was, made me appreciate him even more.
Yes.
Yeah, that's dope. I was a big fan of Gang Starr.
Oh yeah.
When you mentioned it, my head started going thing like Mass Appeal. Oh man, just off the top of my dome, or DeWick. I know that was a collab, but oh man, he was a beast.
Yo man, I saw him when he came down to Toronto, and he did Jazzmatazz when he did that album. He came and did that. Nice. Awesome. It was a total awesome
that's dope.
Concert, man. That's the one thing I'm glad I went to, because you know sometimes you say I'm not gonna go. I went and I thoroughly enjoyed that one.
It was so, like, back in the 90s, again, like the concert scene and the level of and the number of hip-hop concerts and stuff like that we were, you know, getting, just makes you appreciate it even more. Like, I saw Beatnuts, and at that point in time, like, it was DJ Khaled who was DJing for them at that time. I've seen Biggie when he did his little concert here just before the release of his first album and stuff like that, and just him being out in the crowd, you know, just rocking and stuff with, you know, all the crowd and all that kind of stuff, was just an experience, man. You know what I mean? So those were fun times, man. fun times. Nothing, unfortunately, we can't relive those times. And I think that, being the age that we're at and stuff like that, have been able to really understand and appreciate those times because we saw the transition. You know what I mean? So it's crazy.
Switching gears now, do you remember the first time that you played out as a DJ? You're like, yeah, I'm a DJ and I'm playing out. Do you remember that first jam that you did with your friends?
It was high school. So, growing up in Scarborough, I went to Cedar Brae Collegiate, and all the big DJs and stuff were like at West Hill, Pearson, and more so like reggae DJs and stuff like that. But and they all had all the biggest high school jams and whatever. But Cedar Brae had their jams and stuff like that, as well. And yeah, Cedar Brae definitely was like my first kind of breakout in front of a crowd and stuff like that. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Nice.
That was pretty cool, man.
Nice. So Majesty, if I was to hop in the car with you, what would be in your car as far as for hip hop? What would be sitting in there?
For hip hop, what would be?
If we were, and not to cut you off, so let me back up. If we were like back when we had, because everything is streaming now, but what would be on your dial? What would be something you would play?
It definitely would be Biggie, for sure. You'd have like Nas, like Illmatic,
okay,
Black Moon,
ooh,
CNN, The War Report, like
Black Moon,
like those are some of my favorite albums, man. Like, for me, those and obviously like Wu-Tang as well. Just those kind of define what hip hop is to me, because they were just bangers, like straight bangers, in terms of albums and stuff.
I love it. Well, you mentioned Wu-Tang, and I'm gonna pick with Samson a little bit because he said he was, he would be skeptical to meet someone he had, a lot of love and respect for. They may ruin it. Well, he knows Method Man. I'm sure you know that, Majesty, and you weren't disappointed with him, Samson.
That was different. That was totally different. So why he brings this up is because we played video games, and that's how I met him.
Okay.
So we were playing video games. So I'm home and I'm talking to someone, and then one of our friends said, "You know who 99 is?" And I'm like, yeah. And they said, "Oh, it's Method Man." I'm like, "Wow, you're lying. You're not." And then the next time we played, I listened to the voice, because the voice is
raspy.
You can't hide that voice. And I'm like, "Oh shoot, it is him." And we kept talking, and then when he came to the concert, we finally met him and got tickets to go and stuff like that. That's different. But just to see him on the street, walking by you, or you're in the same venue, I'm not walking up on that person. Nah. I'm gonna leave that alone.
I got you.
And it's just so funny, like us Canadians and stuff like that are kind of like, we're not starstruck like that. How the fans are in some other places in the world and stuff like that. And I always tell people here, anybody can walk the streets and stuff. Like, I've seen a lot of artists, I've seen a lot of actors just walking the streets without security and stuff like that. Maybe not so much nowadays, but in the 2000s, early 90s and stuff like that, definitely they just be walking the streets, and depending on who you are, you can do that nowadays too.
Yeah, man.
Got you. And I heard Samson with the intro said you do a lot of promotions. How is that going there in Canada right now? Are you doing that now, or you used to do that?
So I used to do it a lot more on my own, in terms of like promo and stuff like that with parties. I work with Just Blaze, as Samson knows, on events and stuff like that, and been working with him for like 2 decades, 2 decades long with him. We've seen the changes in the industry, and it's just getting a lot harder. And again, like the access to certain clubs are now limited, and it's all about the relationships. A lot of these DJs now are turning into promoters, which I definitely support, because while the promoter is needed, they aren't at the same point in time. If you're a good DJ and you know how to promote and have a team behind you and stuff like that, it's just seeing things change. Like the expectations of, let's say, a DJ is to promote a party, is to market a party, and a lot of us have said, forget it. Like, why am I going through a promoter when I can just do it myself, build a team and do it myself? So the industry again has changed. Yeah,
definitely.
Got you. Yeah, it has. Yeah.
So
go ahead, Samson. Go ahead.
From the time that you started to now, what's the differences that are happening in the party scene?
The party scene, so I always say that back in the day, people followed DJs, and now they follow more so experiences. So, for example, if Baby Blue had a party, everybody, if you're going to Atlantis, if you're going here, you're going there, whatever the case may be, and Baby Blue is playing, everyone's going because of Baby Blue.
Gotta be one of them Baby Blue joints.
There are a couple of DJs that people do follow. They more want to follow, okay, well, I had a good time the last time at this club, the music was good, the decor was good, if they had some, if it's food inclusive, whatever the case may be. So it's a whole experience, I think, that people now follow rather than the DJs, because there's just so many DJs out there now, so it's hard to follow any one DJ.
By the way, Baby Blue is a bad boy crew from Toronto. They had a good run in Toronto.
They had an amazing run. Like, when you think about some of the founding or pioneering DJs, I always say, if Baby Blue DJ starting from scratch
with Canada's #1 DJ, all DJs starting from scratch.
King Turbo. Bracket Specs, and Dr. J.
This is Dr. J repping Team So.
They were the ones that influenced the urban scene in their specific genres, so much. You know what I mean? So they had a big influence on that.
Definitely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, Majesty, have you been to the States, New York, Philly, any places like that to DJ, or you just been really in the Toronto area?
Just more so in the Toronto, and been out to Montreal a couple of times and whatever, but more so, here in Toronto and stuff like that. So the GTA. Gotcha. But I would love to go out there, you know what I mean? To represent, Toronto, to represent Canada, and just kill it out there, I don't want to take anything away from some American DJs, but it's always good to hear when people from other places come to Toronto and say, Toronto has some of the best DJs. And I think we're forced to be good. Even some of our, I guess, weaker DJs, or whatever you want to call them, can really go and kill a spot, in the States. Having gone to the States, gone to clubs and stuff like that, some of the DJs, or who they call DJs, are questionable. It is what it is. But again, it's people coming here and saying, Toronto has some amazing DJs, and I attribute that to our diversity here in Toronto. You know what I mean? Because we got to play a certain way for a wide demographic of people. We're influenced by reggae, soca, Afro, hip hop, R&B, all genres of music because we're so diverse here in Toronto.
Definitely.
Dope.
We're coming to the end of the interview, but before we go, we'd like you to spit out your your handles and tell everyone where they can meet you if they need to come to Toronto, what parties to go to. Please tell our audience.
I would say just look out for me, follow me to let you know what's going on. If you want to see me this Saturday, come out to Splash Saturdays in Scarborough at oh my gosh, why is it slipping my mind?
Is it Star Days? Or,
yeah, sorry, Starlight.
Starlight. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Starlight, right at the corner of Ellesmere and Midland.
Yeah.
You know, Father Tommy from Chill Squad puts it on every other Saturday, and it's a real vibe. So come check that out. But in terms of handles, check me out pretty much on all platforms: TikTok, IG, etc., DJ Majesty 101.
Nice.
And shout out to DJ Tommy. That's dope. I know that.
Father Tommy. He was on. We just interviewed him just a while ago.
Oh, dope. Yeah, real good guy. Like he's really helping a lot of DJs in terms of like giving them opportunities to DJ and stuff like that. You know what he does for his Splash Saturdays, 5 plus going on strong, and you're always going to see different DJs in there.
Nice.
Easy.
Well, we thank you, Majesty, for taking time to come on Europe Radio, the Hip Hop Shop. This is our second season, and also big love to my co-host King Samson, who is really making this show what it is. I'm really happy to have him as a co-host.
Thank you, bro.
Well, thanks for having me. I'd love to be here anytime. Just let me know. I'm down for it.
Thank you.
100.
Wrap it up, man.
Yep, let's do it. Much love, everybody. Thank you for tapping into the Hip Hop Shop. Also, don't forget, for season 2, we have the Hip Hop Shop show on YouTube. Samson, let's do it. We out.
All right.
We ask all our listeners to tell a friend, and tell a friend about the Hip Hop Shop. Visit us at europradio.com. That would be YURRP radio.com. Follow us on Instagram at DJ Milk_D and me, King Samson Official. See you next Tuesday at the Hip Hop Shop.
This is the Hip Hop Shop, a Chemistry Lab production exclusively on europradio.com.